Okay, this is Nick Dutch back again one more time, and still ranting on about my favourite obsession, which is of course tea, and it's reaching pathogenic levels with me. I'll be honest about that. Yes, I mean everything is tea. Tea must have more tea. You know, I go out and I'm looking out for where the coffee shops are and where the tea shops are, so I can get my caffeine fix from one form or another. But I'm mainly looking at tea at the moment as opposed to coffee. Although yerba mate is another part of my caffeine addiction. In order to manage my sleep patterns, I might have coffee and yerba mate in the mornings and mid mornings, and then after that I go on to tea, and then in the evenings I go on to something like rooibos tea, or I'll go on to other forms of like herbal tea and chamomile and that sort of stuff to keep me hydrated, as well as just chill me out. Now what I'm going to try and do is something which I've been learning a bit about on the internet. Where else? And that's a version of an Indian tea which is called chai masala. Now in England we've got this dish called chicken tikka masala, but what we English people don't know is the word masala. It just means mixed spice. So this is like it's going to taste a bit like a mulled wine. I made one of these earlier on, and we're just going to use some licorice root, although you can use aniseed or something else with a similar flavour, or indeed you just don't have to use this stuff, whatever. I got cinnamon, I've got cardamom, and that's how you spell it. You've got cloves and you've got ginger. That's a mug, and that's some rooibos tea. And I'm going to have my rooibos because it's coming up to bedtime and I want to have something hot and spicy. So this is just me making yet another bloody cup of tea. I'm obsessed. What's wrong with me? Okay, just shoving a mug of water into a pan. One cardamom pod. Sorry, let me just try and say that without my tongue getting tied. One cardamom pod. Crush it. So it's now open so the flavours can get through. Shove that into the water. Okay, add a pinch of the licorice root. A little sprinkle of the cinnamon. A little sprinkle of the ginger. Ginger is actually quite good for you, and apparently there's research into its antifungal properties which is happening at the moment, so that maybe there'll even be candida yeast infection treatments made from ginger in the future. Now I'm just going to put one singular clove in, just one of them. And the next thing to do is to stir that up, let it reach a boil, and then make it simmer so all the flavours of the spices get into the water, and that'll be the water we're going to use to make the tea. Okay, and we'll see what it's like. Okay, now in India what they do is they bring the spices in the water to a good boil, then they add the milk and they make it boil even more, and it's like 1 part water to 2 parts milk because they have it incredibly milky, and they've got the tea simmering and steeping away in there at the same time. Now I don't take milk, so that's obviously a bit of a pain, alright, but that's a good thing because I can make it in a different way. Now, as I don't take milk, I'm not going to put the tea bag in, okay, or whatever tea I'm going to use into it, and allow that to cook up, because that will over steep the tea and make it rather bitter. So I'm going to just get this water really, really hot and strain out all of the little bits that I've got in there through a tea strainer or similar, okay, into the mug which will have the tea bag in it. Right now it smells absolutely wonderful. Got this like really, really sort of like mulled winey sort of like wafting smell going on. So when I'm drinking this stuff, when it's done, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. The smell is absolutely tremendous. So even if you don't drink this stuff, the fact it's going to make your whole kitchen smell really rather fragrant and good is like well worth it. Okay, so that's now been simmering for a couple of minutes. It smells divine. It looks brown and oh yeah, that's going to be nice. So basically that's the hot water for my tea. Remove the spices. Put my tea bag in, let it steep. Grab myself a spoon and give it a good old infusing. Add my traditional number of sweeteners to it. And this is going to be a very nice spiced chai masala tea. Now apparently in different parts of India they have different forms of masalas, different forms of herb blends or spice blends that they use, which is based upon either their medical practices or regional traditions and that sort of thing. Hell, I have mine really sweet, it's bedtime. Okay, so I got 3 sweeteners going in there. So there isn't one singular, the way I understand it, okay, there isn't one singular chai masala. It's just you can make up anything with like the basic ingredients of ground ginger, cloves, cardamom, and cinnamon. And you can add the licorice or aniseed if you want, and then you will essentially have your chai masala. This one obviously no milk, so it's not the Indian style, but it's using masala spices, all right, to give it that extra je ne sais quoi, because it's like late in the evening. So I'm just doing this video for absolutely no reason whatsoever, apart from the fact it might be interesting. And also think about it, right? When the summer comes, if you were to take this stuff which you've just made, okay, whether it's with black tea, green tea, white tea, yellow tea, any tea, or rooibos tea, or raspberry leaf tea, and you were to pour it over ice, okay, take a jar or jug or whatever, fill it full of ice cubes, pour this stuff on top of it, you would have a pretty amazing, cold, spicy drink that will cost you a damn sight less than, let's say, a Diet Coca-Cola would. Alright, and you'd have much more benefit, you'd have health benefit and all that kind of stuff from it. So it actually makes sense to think more about tea as being like the ultimate soft drink. Alright, it's good for you and stuff. Right now, if you really can't live without fizzy drinks, then if you were to chill this stuff, sweeten it, spice it, then chill it and add it to sparkling water. Alright, then you got yourself your fizzy drink. You can add it to sparkling water and fruit juice, or pieces of frozen fruit juice, because you, put some fruit juice in an ice tray and shoved it in the freezer. And then that can then melt into your drink, give it fruitiness and spiciness and sweetness and the fizziness and all this stuff. Alright? And would still cost you a damn sight less than like buying yourself cans of Pepsi or, Sprite or anything else. And of course taking it with you on in one of those like plastic sports drink bottles, so that you can do, go for a walk, go for a run, take it on a picnic, or stuff. Obviously once you've filtered it and drained it and strained it and that sort of stuff. But yeah, doesn't it just like make you think that like a homemade drink could in fact be better? Okay, like Mr. Pepsi and Mr. Coca-Cola, yes I am raising my middle finger up at you at the moment, alright, because I think that like they're just doing stuff at home, man. As far as like your tea making paraphernalia, man, that thing is, this particular French press or whatever is pretty crappy because it hasn't got a good enough spring for me to make a proper coffee with. But it's perfect for my loose leaf teas. Alright? Absolutely perfect for it. Because the grate is small enough and there's just enough, lack of gap for me to work with loose leaf teas, but it's not quite good enough for coffees. So it's still like pretty damn good, and it's got volume for 3 mugs or 4 of my small teacup things. Alright? So if I could fill one of those things up, with water, with some herb in the bottom, yerba mate, green tea, and then or white tea or anything, shove a lid back on it, shove it in the fridge, then by the morning, alright, I've got iced tea, and I can add like the spices and all that shit to it. So as far as like why am I as a human individual quite so obsessed with tea and what it can do, it's because with a teeny bit of ingenuity, alright, a bit of time and a bit of thought and a bit of planning and a little bit of research, you can create something which can really be very interesting as a drink. Alright? Can go with nearly anything. Alright? It's going to be cost effective. It's, you know, and if you buy these spices right, you know, it didn't cost all that much to buy these things. Then you can use them in your cooking as well if you're not making your drinks, and otherwise it will just be sitting in your cupboard, because like everyone's got a spice cupboard, all right, or a shelf in your cupboard with loads of spices in it. And the fact of the matter is, it just doesn't get used for anything. All right, okay, I bought these things deliberately so I can make tea. All right, but most of us have got stuff in the shelves that is not being used. When you can make your own soft drinks and shove a middle finger up to the Pepsi company. Yeah, what the hell, I'm just rambling. But can you see why I'm so obsessed with it? Tea is just amazing. And it beats the crap out of just having water, you know, or just fruit juice. So fruit juice is bad for your teeth as well because it's acid and this, and I got bad teeth, so essentially tea is like, wow. Yes, tea, man. It's like the best bit of drugs on the face of the planet, you know what I mean? Gangsta. And on top of that, you know, it smells amazing. It's got that like You know, you can actually buy chai tea bags, like about 15 of them, 15 individual chai tea bags for about £6. Now, with the spices I bought and the tea I got, you know, I'm saving a fortune really, because I can have so many more of the things. Obviously, they're great. Those things are great for like a gift for someone to get them interested in tea. But get yourself some herbs and spices, man. I mean, just like, it should be a no-brainer, you know. Play around with tea. Tea is complex. It's weird. It's like nice. It's amazing. You just go for it. You know what I mean? It's wonderful. And that is warm. That is spicy. That's going to send me off to sleep nicely tonight. Oh God! And the way the licorice root is blending with the heat of the spices is just like amazing. And of course, you got that soft rooibosy flavour underneath, and oh God, nice.